Welcome to the Daily Globe. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon for more breaking updates. The right to bear arms, debated since America's founding, has always been a defining feature of the nation's identity. From the earliest days of the Republic, the Second Amendment has sparked passionate arguments about freedom, security, and the very meaning of citizenship. Over centuries, this debate has evolved, reflecting the changing face of American society and the challenges of modern life. Today, the issue is more contested than ever before, with communities across the country deeply divided over what gun rights should look like in the 21st century. In 2022, the Supreme Court issued a landmark decision in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. This ruling didn't just tweak existing laws, it upended decades of established gun regulation, declaring that the constitutional right to carry a firearm extends well beyond the home and into public spaces. The decision forced states like New York, long known for some of the strictest gun laws in the nation, to completely overhaul their regulations. Suddenly, thousands of residents found themselves eligible to apply for concealed carry permits, and government offices saw a surge in applications almost overnight. Lawmakers scrambled to respond, rushing to redraw the boundaries of where guns could and could not be carried. Schools, parks, subways, and other public spaces were quickly designated as gun-free zones, but the result was a confusing patchwork of rules that left many citizens uncertain about what was legal and what was not. The aftermath has been dramatic. A surge in armed citizens, a booming firearms training industry, and a new sense of urgency around personal safety. Gun ranges and training classes are busier than ever, as people seek to understand their rights and responsibilities under the new law. Meanwhile, cities and towns across America are grappling with how to balance the rights of individuals to protect themselves with the need to keep public spaces safe for everyone. The debate has spilled into city halls, newsrooms, and living rooms, fueling passionate discussions about what kind of country we want to be. Tonight, we'll break down how we arrived at this pivotal moment in American history, tracing the legal battles, political shifts, and cultural changes that brought us here. We'll examine what the Supreme Court decided, why it matters, and how it's already changing the legal landscape across the country. We'll hear directly from citizens whose lives have been affected, from law enforcement officers tasked with enforcing these new rules, and from legal experts on all sides of the debate, each offering their perspective on what's at stake. Because this story is about more than just guns. It's about the future of our public spaces, our communities, and the values that will shape America for years to come. The outcome of this debate will define not only our laws, but the very fabric of American life for generations to follow. Before the landmark Bruin decision, America's gun laws were a complex and often confusing patchwork, with each state setting its own rules for who could carry a firearm in public. There was no single national standard, and the differences between states could be dramatic. Even neighboring states sometimes had completely opposite approaches to gun permits and public carry. In some states, the law required officials to issue concealed carry permits to anyone who met clear, objective criteria, such as passing a background check and completing a safety course. These were known as shall-issue states. But in other states, authorities had broad discretion to deny permits, even if applicants met all the basic requirements. In these may-issue states, like New York and California, applicants had to go beyond the basics. They were required to prove a special need for self-defense, something above and beyond ordinary concern. As a result, permits were rarely granted to average citizens, and the process could be lengthy and frustrating. Supporters of these strict rules argued that they helped protect public safety by keeping guns out of the wrong hands. They believed that giving officials discretion was essential for preventing violence, but critics saw it differently, calling the system arbitrary and unconstitutional, an unfair barrier that kept law-abiding people from defending themselves. The debate over gun rights reached a turning point in 2008 when the Supreme Court decided District of Columbia versus Heller. The court affirmed that the Second Amendment protects an individual's right to own a handgun at home for self-defense. But the ruling left a big question unanswered. What about carrying guns in public? In the years that followed, legal challenges to restrictive public carry laws mounted across the country. Yet, the Supreme Court declined to take up the issue, until two New Yorkers, frustrated by the state's strict rules and backed by national gun rights groups, decided to fight back. They argued that ordinary law-abiding citizens were being unfairly denied the right to carry firearms for self-protection, simply because they couldn't prove a unique threat. Their case resonated with many Americans who felt the system was stacked against them. The Supreme Court finally agreed to hear their case. Recognizing the national importance of the issue, the stage was set for a historic decision that would impact millions and reshape the country's approach to gun rights. The legal landscape of America's gun laws was about to undergo a dramatic transformation, one that would be felt in every state, and spark new debates about rights, safety, and the meaning of the Second Amendment. On June 23, 2022, the Supreme Court struck down New York's proper cause requirement for concealed carry. The 6-3 decision, authored by Justice Clarence Thomas, declared that the right to carry a handgun in public is protected by the Constitution. States could no longer require citizens to prove a special need to carry a gun. The court's new history and tradition test demanded that gun laws align with regulations from the 1700s. 6 states, including California and New Jersey, had to overhaul their licensing systems, shifting from may issue to shall issue. For gun rights advocates, it was a landmark victory. For gun control supporters, a devastating setback. The ruling set a new, strict standard for all gun laws, nationwide. It triggered a wave of legislative and legal battles. America's gun debate had entered a new era. Nowhere has Bruin's impact been more dramatic than in New York City. The city, long known for its strict gun laws and tough stance on firearms, has found itself at the epicenter of a sweeping transformation. The Supreme Court's decision sent shockwaves through the city's legal and cultural landscape, forcing officials and residents alike to adapt to a new reality. Once, concealed carry permits were nearly impossible to get. Now, applications have surged tenfold. Lines snake around city blocks as hopeful applicants wait for their chance, and city agencies are overwhelmed by the sheer volume of paperwork. For many, the process is still daunting, but the possibility of approval has sparked a wave of interest. Over 17,000 new permits have been approved, with thousands more pending. Each approved application represents a shift in the city's approach to personal security and individual rights. The numbers continue to climb, reflecting a profound change in public sentiment. The city's new gun owners come from all walks of life: teachers, lawyers, transit workers, driven by a desire for self-protection. Some are motivated by personal experiences, others by a general sense of uncertainty. What unites them is a newfound sense of agency, and a belief that carrying a firearm might make them safer in an unpredictable world. High-profile crimes and global events have fueled demand, even as overall crime rates fall. News headlines and viral stories stoke anxieties, prompting more New Yorkers to seek permits. The city's reputation as a safe haven is being re-examined, and the debate over public safety is more heated than ever. Meanwhile, New York's Concealed Carry Improvement Act created a maze of sensitive places where guns remain banned, from subways to Times Square. The list of restricted areas is long and often confusing, leaving many to wonder where their new rights actually apply. Permit holders must navigate a complex web of restrictions, often unsure where they can legally carry. The rules are constantly evolving, and even seasoned gun owners find themselves double-checking maps and regulations before leaving home. The city is divided. Thousands embrace their new rights, while officials scramble to maintain control. Pro-gun advocates rally for fewer restrictions, while city leaders warn of potential dangers and push for tighter oversight. The debate is fierce, and the stakes feel higher than ever. The tension plays out daily, in public spaces and courtrooms and in the city's identity. New York is at a crossroads, grappling with questions of freedom, safety, and what it means to live in a city transformed by a single Supreme Court decision. Bruin forced states nationwide to rewrite their gun laws, but the legal battles are far from over. States like California and Maryland dropped good cause requirements, while New York and New Jersey passed sweeping new laws, expanding sensitive places, and adding strict training and character standards. Gun rights groups immediately challenged these laws in court, arguing they defy the Supreme Court's mandate. Some provisions survived, others, like social media checks, were struck down. The Supreme Court declined to revisit New York's new law, leaving a patchwork of rules and ongoing uncertainty. Lawmakers, citizens, and police remain in limbo, awaiting clarity on how far states can go to regulate guns. The legal fight is far from settled. For police, the new rules have made an already tough job even harder. Officers must quickly distinguish between legal permit holders and illegal threats, all while navigating a confusing map of gun-free zones. The push for national concealed carry reciprocity, forcing states to honor all other states' permits, has law enforcement deeply concerned. Police groups warn it could override local training standards and create chaos during stops. Legal experts are split. Some say Bruin restores a core right, others argue it ties states' hands and risks public safety. Research links more permissive carry laws to higher rates of violence, but supporters insist law-abiding citizens deter crime. The debate is fierce, with both sides claiming the mantle of public safety. The stakes for law enforcement and communities are enormous. The Bruin decision has sparked an economic boom in firearms training and sales. New York's strict training requirements have created a lucrative market for instructors, with courses costing hundreds of dollars. Gun shops and firing ranges are busier than ever, as new permit holders seek handguns, accessories, and practice time. The new wave of gun owners is diverse: teachers, doctors, business owners, all seeking a sense of security. The cost of entry is high, with fees and equipment easily topping $1,000. This industry is thriving even as crime rates fall, driven by fear and a sense of vulnerability. The economic impact is real jobs, revenue, and a new sector built on anxiety. The legal shift has changed not just the law, but how Americans think about safety. As states adjust to Bruin, Congress is debating national concealed carry reciprocity. The proposed law would force every state to recognize permits from all others, including those with no training requirements. Supporters say it's about fairness and constitutional rights, comparing it to driver's licenses. Opponents, including law enforcement and officials in strict states, warn it would undermine local laws and endanger public safety. The bill faces an uphill battle in the Senate, but the Supreme Court may soon weigh in on related cases. A ruling could establish judicial reciprocity, letting gun owners carry across state lines regardless of state law. The fight is both legislative and judicial, keeping the issue at the center of national politics. The future of gun regulation hangs in the balance. The Bruin decision launched a new, uncertain era for gun laws in America. Cities like New York are test cases, more permit holders, a booming training industry, and a confusing web of restrictions. The core questions remain: what does freedom mean? What does safety look like? How do we balance individual rights with community security? The debate is passionate, the stakes high. Legal battles and legislative fights will continue, shaping the rules of our shared spaces. For every American, this is a moment that demands attention and engagement. The future of gun laws is unsettled, and the conversation is far from over. Staying informed is essential for your safety, your rights, and your country's future.